Booting up Diablo 1 for the very first time is a singular experience. It's one of those games you wish you could wipe from your memory, just to experience all over again for the first time. Seeing the town of Tristram in its complete state of decay, accompanied by the killer acoustic soundtrack, those 12-string guitars subtly out-of-tune creates the perfect contrast to the terror that Lazarus, our primary antagonist alongside Diablo, has unleashed upon the town. And this game doesn't hold back when it comes to delivering a vibe and aesthetic of death. And let's be real, whatever hardware limitation the devs faced at the time, they beautifully compensated with storytelling and atmosphere. Even the safest area of our beloved Tristram, you feel it. Whether it's the dead, muted color palette surrounding the town, or the dying man slumped in front of the cathedral, where crimson lights bleed through the windows and cracks, the character performances are so ridiculously good that if this game were released today, at least one of them would easily take home a Best Performance award.
Please, listen to me. The Archbishop Lazarus. He led us down here to find the lost prince. The bastard led us into a trap. Now everyone is dead, killed by a demon he called the Butcher. Avenge us! Find this Butcher and slay him, so that our souls may finally rest.
But to understand why this game remains peak horror and why Tristram became the hollow shell we see today, we have to look through the eyes of the noble kings of Canduras. Leoric, also known as the Black King. Leoric declared himself King of Canduras, with Tristram as his capital, bringing order to a previously fractured land alongside his trusted advisor, Lazarus, and his knights. They established an empire marked by justice and righteousness, earning the deep admiration of the town blacksmith, Griswold. And for there to be a skeleton king, the genesis of it all had to come from a betrayal. Lazarus was the game's primary human antagonist, and under Diablo's influence, he didn't just kidnap Leoric's son. He lured the villagers into the cathedral, posing as an horrified servant of the crown. Grieving the disappearance of Prince Albrecht, he organized local militias for a rescue mission. As Archbishop, no one dared to question his authority. The villagers had no idea they were being led straight into an ambush, and an ambush was none other than the Butcher. And few survived the slaughter actually, and those who did are the very characters we interact with in Tristram. Griswold, the blacksmith, Farhan, the drunk, and Wirt, the boy with the wooden leg. But Farhan had the most tragic fate, perhaps the town's most tragic figure. He was one of the few who physically escaped the Butcher's lair. Watching his friends being butchered caused him to lose his mind. It led him to the extreme of alcoholism we see in the game. You can truly feel his pain, and it's profoundly uncomfortable.
Big, fever, killing all my friends. Couldn't stop him. Had to run away. Couldn't save them. Trapped in a room with so many bodies, so many friends. Oh!
Other characters like Deckard Cain, Pepin the Healer, and Ogden the Tavern Owner didn't descend into the labyrinth, but they solved the horror of the few bloody survivors who returned. And this is what transformed Tristram into the dark, melancholic village we see in the game. And this is the starting point that sets the entire game. What makes this game incredible to me is its raw horror. It drinks from the less is more type of script. Show, don't tell. The same philosophy that the Silent Hill franchise executes so masterfully. Entering the cathedral for the first time, the character expresses discomfort in a simple line.
The sanctity of this place has been fouled.
The architecture of the cathedral is visual porn for anyone who loves the Gothic dark aesthetic. Even with graphics considered dated by today's standards, the game never fails to deliver exactly what it promises: a claustrophobic and oppressive experience. And what's more claustrophobic than the game limiting your own field of vision? What the game calls light radius, the light your character emits. This is what dictates how far you can see. This flirts exactly with the anticipatory anxiety and fear, which in my opinion is one of the most effective types of psychological horror. For reference, we have titles like Amnesia, Dark Descent, Alien Isolation, Silent Hill 2, and Fatal Frame. When you reach the second floor, as you explore a bit deeper, you stumble upon this room. You immediately realize this chamber stands out completely from the rest. Looking at it from an isometric top-down view, you know something is wrong. Then, you open the door, and...
Fresh meat.
This line alone is one of the most iconic and terrifying moments in gaming history. It defined the horror atmosphere of Diablo. Seeing that demon, a little ball of meat charging at you with a cleaver, was the source of a childhood trauma for many. He wasn't just an enemy, he was a persistent death sentence. The moment you decide to run, the butcher broke the passive rules of RPGs at the time. He didn't give up, he haunted you through the very darkness that your own light radius failed to illuminate.
Fresh meat.
And if the butcher was that raw, visceral jump scare, Leoric is something else. He's solemn, he's tragic. When you step into his tomb, you get this warm welcome. Ironically speaking, of course.
The warmth of life has entered my tomb. Prepare yourself, mortal, to serve my master for eternity.
The fight goes down right there in his script, and the second you start, you realize he's the polar opposite of the butcher. Where the butcher is just loud and aggressive, Leoric is quiet, playing the long game. He doesn't just charge at you, he tries to flank you with his skeleton while he keeps his distance. And honestly, there's a poetic irony in his lore. The guy didn't trust a soul while he was alive, and now in death, he surrounded himself with servants who literally can't betray him. It's dark, man.
Rest well, Leoric. I'll find your son.
So you finish that fight, keep heading down past the cathedral, and once you hit level 5, the game just shifts. What used to be the church's foundations are now the catacombs. Basically, this was Tristram's old ossuary, a place meant for people to rest in peace, but now it's just being used as a literal cradle for Diablo's corruption. All that familiar human architecture, gone. Now you're just dealing with pure darkness. These invisible monsters that love to materialize right next to you when you're least expecting it.
I can see what you see not. Vision milky, then eyes rot. When you turn, they will be gone, whispering their hidden song. Then you see what cannot be. Shadows move where light should be. Out of darkness, out of mind, cast down into the halls of the blind.
The music switched to this industrial ambient vibe. Lots of repetitive beats, super haunting and threatening. If you poke around, you'll find this sketchy dude, Czar the Mad.
What? Why are you here? All these interruptions are enough to make one insane. Here, take this and leave me to my work. Trouble me no more.
He tells you to back off and leave him be. But naturally, if you touch his bookshelf,
Your curiosity will be the death of you.
he's no joke. If you're not careful enough, his fireball will send you back to the menu faster than you can blink. Other than that, the catacombs are mostly a grind, though there's a cool little puzzle with these things called bloodstones. By level 8, things get hot, literally. Magma starts seeping in, and the layout opens up. And that old trick of bottlenecking enemies and doorways, forget it, doesn't work here. Mob starts coming at you in huge swarms, and the difficulty spike is real. My personal nightmare, the Storm Lords. Those guys melt your armor with lightning spam like it's nothing. It's unfair as fuck. I know so many people who just gave up and reset their characters here, restarting the whole run with their gear and gold just to have a fighting chance. Also, Fun fact, a shortcut to Tristram opens up right next to Weird, the kid with the peg leg. But yeah, from the caves on, the game just keeps turning up the heat. Up until now, the game felt like a static climb. But once you hit hell, it just loses its mind. It's pure profanity, visceral imagery, and total brutality. If you look at the floor, you'll see that blasphemous geometry, impaled bodies, and an atmosphere that's heavy as hell. The terrain is hostile, and demon hordes try to box you in constantly. Two enemies in particular will ruin your day, the Succubi and Blood Knights. Succubi annoy you from a distance, while Blood Knights try to flank you. And man, those knights hit like a truck. And in this area, we finally run into Lazarus. When you step into his portal, the game pulls off a genius design move. It breaks the linear descent. You're sped back into the cathedral's aesthetic, but it's not the same one from the start. It's like Lazarus created a pocket dimension where he makes the rules. The game uses this familiar setting to mess with your head. You think you know the place, but the Succubi waves and the switch placements show it's a total trap. It's not just a sub-level, it's a void, where he hides to pull the final strings.
Abandon your foolish quest. All that awaits you is the wrath of my master. You are too late to save the child. Now you will join him in hell.
The fight with Lazarus is pretty unfair actually, but there's a pro strat here. If you hug the wall near the Succubi before he finishes his speech, you won't aggro the whole army at once. It's a smart way to take down the catalyst of all this evil.
Your madness ends here, betrayer.
Back in hell, you've got to pull 4 school levers to reveal the central chamber and face Diablo. This fight is the pure definition of unfair. If you hadn't gone through the New Game Plus at least twice or 3 times, you're going to suffer, or even get soft-locked. The center is packed with Blood Knight and mages that can delete you in seconds. It's the moment where the artistic choice of making it difficult clashes hard to what we'd call a fair gameplay. Alright, Diablo is dead, but if you're expecting a happy ending, forget it. The final scene was dry and brutal. The protagonist just jams the soulstone directly into his own forehead, and the game ends, just right there. It's heavy, jagged finale that doesn't explain much in the moment. It just leaves you with this bitter taste that all that grinding in hell was for nothing. We just swapped one evil for another. The game doesn't explicitly say what these stones are back then, but basically, they were created by Archangel Tyrell to seal Diablo, Baal, and Mephisto. In the lore, the canon character who does this is the Warrior, and what happens to him and the others at the end of the game, you only got to see in Diablo 2. I'll be leaving a spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't played it. The biggest plot twist of Diablo 1 is that nobody actually wins. The game breaks your heart because all 3 heroes who went down there to save Day ended up becoming the villains of the next game. The Warrior, the canon main character, thought he was built different and tried to lock Diablo inside his own mind. Big mistake actually, he completely loses it. becomes a Dark Wanderer, walks around burning down Tristram, and eventually his body just snaps and he morphs into Diablo himself in Diablo 2. The rogue didn't have a happy ending either. She came back from the labyrinth completely traumatized by everything she saw. She lost her mind, got corrupted by Undead, and turned into Blood Raven, that first creepy boss you fight in the graveyard in Diablo 2. The same happened to the mage. He went looking for forbidden magic down there, and it completely broke his brain. He ended up traveling to the desert, locking himself in the arcane sanctuary, and turned into that crazy boss, the summoner. So yeah, in the end, he didn't save Tristram. You just bought him a little bit of time before everything went to hell anyway. I really enjoy making this video, and I'll be doing more stuff like this in the future, covering both retro and modern games. If you enjoyed this journey back to hell, hit that like button, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.